It's getting harder and harder to keep people's attention with videos. So one thing that you can do is add extra elements. So today we're talking about 5 ways that you can add visuals to your videos. Let's jump right into it. If you're new here, my name is Liz and I help coaches and consultants add video to their business. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss any of my future content. Now, why in the world would you want to add a visual to a video? Because video is already a visual format. Well, consider that when people are watching a video for some time, it is the natural human reaction for their mind to start to wander after a couple of minutes, no matter how engaging the presentation is. So when you add a couple of visuals to your video, it just breaks up what the viewer is already seeing. It brings their attention back, it recaptures their attention, it re-engages them, and then it just gives them something else to look at other than what they've already been seeing on the screen. Now, people have been adding visuals to videos for years, but we probably just didn't notice them at the time. Now, the 5 different ideas that I'm going to give you today are super simple to implement. You can use just really simple software that you're already using, and it just kind of up-levels your video a little bit to help retain the attention of your audience. So let's jump right into it. Now, the first visual element that you can consider is adding an intro or an outro to your video, or you can have both. So this is really just a couple of seconds of some type of different visual element that is meant to introduce the video or your brand altogether. Similarly, at the end of your video, you can end with another couple of seconds of a different visual. This just helps to wrap up the video altogether and remind people of your brand. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but one really important thing to remember is that the intro is often not as important to your viewer as you might think. They're watching your video because they want the content of the video. Whatever title you've given that video, they are there for that. So the intro is really meant to just kind of add a nice aesthetic look to your video altogether and to remind them of what your brand is. But it's not something that they necessarily care about. So my point is, don't have an intro that is so long and drawn out and so cinematic and laborious that it causes your viewer to drop off the video altogether. Now, when I first started making videos on this YouTube channel, I had an intro that was about 15 seconds long. I spent a ton of time trying to find the perfect background music for it, and I stitched all of the clips together so that it had a really nice branded look and feel. The problem was nobody cared about sitting around for 15 seconds watching my intro. They were there for the content. So eventually I scrapped that, and then I had a more short intro, which is the one that you can see right now. Eventually, I scrapped this one too, even though I was using this for a long time. The only reason I did that is because later I felt like the colors and the look and feel of that didn't really accurately represent my brand. I liked the fact that it was short and snappy, but it still didn't have the real vibe that I was going for, which is why now I have this type of an intro. It just takes a couple of seconds, it sort of sets the tone for the video, and it reminds people of my company's name, and then that's it. Similarly, if you want to do the same thing for your outro, you might want to put just some of your social platforms, the icons for them, your brand's name, and then maybe one other sentence about somewhere else they can find you or something like that. I don't even bother with an intro nowadays. I just say goodbye and then that's it. Now, another type of really easy visual that you can add to your screen is to use a split screen, kind of like what you're seeing right now. Depending on your software, you should be able to do this pretty easily. I do all my editing in iMovie, and it is super easy with one click just to add a split screen. I can either have it on the left or the right of myself, and it's a really good place to add a little bit of text or maybe a list or a quick summary of what it is that you're saying. Now, the point of that list is not to make it so text-filled that people are busy reading that and not paying attention to you anymore. It should just have a couple of words on it, really just to supplement what you're saying. But when the screen splits like that, it just re-engages that viewer who might have just gotten focused on just watching you, and now this is a different way of looking at the video. Now, another way that you can add a visual is to take it full screen, which is kind of like what you're seeing right now. So you can see at this point, you no longer see me speaking to you, but you just hear my voice. And instead, you're focused on the visual that is in front of you. Now, the one thing to keep in mind about using this type of visual is that when a person has to choose between watching something or listening to something, they are always going to prioritize watching it. So that means your viewers' full attention will be on this visual they see in front of them, and your voiceover will become their second priority. It's just going to be running in the background of their mind. So that means that whatever voiceover you're saying at that point of the video shouldn't be so critical to the topic that even if they listen to it with 25% of their brain power, that they're going to actually lose stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. But we see this a lot nowadays, having a full screen visual with a little bit of voiceover in the back, because this again re-engages the audience. It gives them something to look at that supplements what the actual topic is, and it allows them to visualize what it is that you are saying. When you watch me sitting like this, when I talk about different topics, you yourself have to visualize it. But if I put a visual in front of you of that topic, demonstrating some of that stuff, it makes it a lot clearer and easier for you. So this is another really great visual aid that you can try. Now we're interrupting this video so that I can remind you to subscribe. I think you should do that first. And if you're interested in getting on video sooner rather than later, be sure to look for the free resource that I have for you in the description below. Just click on it and I will send that off to you right away. So now let's get back to our video. Now the fourth visual is also similar to the full screen, and that is using B-roll. So the idea of B-roll is that it's not your primary footage. If you were shooting video like what I'm doing right now, this video of my image here talking to the camera, this would be sort of the A-roll, the prime footage. This is the prime content of the video. If you are taking B-roll, that means you're going to take other little special clips that are not really related to what you see here, but it's meant to just kind of stitch together the footage in a way that gives a nicer appearance altogether. So for example, I could take a 4-second clip of me setting up my tripod in order to shoot this video, another 2 seconds of me turning on my studio lights, adjusting the blackout curtains, setting up my mic. A couple clips like that just weave the story for you of me preparing to shoot a video. So all of those little clips would be considered B-roll. None of them are related to the topic of this video, and you're not here specifically to see those little B-roll clips. But if I transition from one main clip to another clip to another clip with these tiny little 3-second B-roll footages in between, it just builds a little bit of a different story. It has a different type of appeal to it. So a lot of video creators do this. And in fact, you can be a coach or a consultant or a business owner. You don't have to do this if you're only a creator or a YouTuber. Anyone who's making video can just take a few casual, random shots that are still nice to look at in the right dimension and then just store them on your phone or on your DSLR. Pull out those clips when you want to stitch together some other footage, and that way you can have a nice, pleasing, full video with B-roll. Now the last type of visual that we're going to talk about today is PIP, which is picture in picture. So that means you've got this main picture and then you've got another little picture here. So this is usually something like a graphic or just a JPEG, or you can even use another little video depending on what type of software you have. So you're choosing the PIP option to be able to place this picture or this graphic here and just adjust it to the right shape and size that you want, and you can move it around and place it anywhere on the screen that you want. So the point of this type of visual is so that you can momentarily call your audience's attention to something. What if I was talking about an upcoming webinar that I have? Then I could put up the graphic for it here. Or if I've got a free resource in the description below, which you can click on, I do, then I could put up a graphic of that here. That way you can listen to me explaining it. I'm still on screen here. You can look here quickly, get a sense of what this thing is, and then the footage just comes back to me. So this is another great little extra addition that you can do, and it's actually really handy. At some point during your video, you might be talking about this other extra thing, another resource you have, a class that you offer, a product that you have, something that you want to draw attention to. So if you've got a graphic of that already saved, put it up in a PIP and then just talk about it for a few seconds and then let it disappear on its own. Now remember, adding things like visuals, music, text, all of these things to your videos just helps to keep your audience engaged and interested and watching. Your videos are not meant to be a visual representation of reading a textbook. They are meant to be more interesting for the viewer. This is why video is becoming prime content now, because people like watching things. So try to experiment with these 5 different types of visuals that I've mentioned, because all of them are easy. They can all be created in just a couple of minutes, and most video editing softwares, whether it's one you're using on your phone or on your laptop, have the functionality to be able to add these type of visuals. So if you like this video, I hope that you will give it a like, share it off with one of your friends. Don't forget to subscribe because every single Tuesday, I bring you a new video teaching you how you can add video to your business. So until next time, take care.